If you're buying a home, selling a property, or even thinking about making a move to Florida, you need to hear this, because 2025 quietly changed the rules for real estate in ways that directly affect contracts, cost, timelines, and legal liability. Some of these changes already took effect this past July 1st, 2025, and two of the most important changes also hit this past fall on October 1st. And here's what most people miss. Buyers and sellers get hurt when they assume nothing has changed. If you don't want to adjust how you are structuring your deals, you can miss real savings, delay your closings, or even worse, expose yourself to risks you didn't even know existed. We're talking about new condo rules, mandatory flood disclosures, faster removal of squatters, major zoning and development changes, and even the elimination of a long-standing commercial lease tax. This isn't politics. This is money, your money. This is protection, and this is how real estate is getting done now in Florida. Here's why this actually matters to you as a buyer or seller. Most real estate doesn't show up in headlines or social media. They show up mid-transaction, during disclosures, timelines, negotiations, and right before closing. And what we're seeing is that deals don't fall apart because people make bad decisions. They fall apart because people weren't prepared for the changes they didn't even know existed. The goal of this video isn't to turn you into an expert, it's to help you understand what's shifting behind the scenes so you can ask better questions and avoid unnecessary surprises. So in this video, I'm highlighting 5 Florida real estate changes for 2025 and what they could mean in the real estate world of transactions, what they actually do, who they affect, and what buyers and sellers should be doing differently starting now. And we're starting with the one that took effect October 1st, because this one saves real money immediately. As of October 1st, 2025, Florida officially eliminated the business rent tax. For years, Florida was the only state in the entire country still charging sales tax on commercial rent. That included office spaces, retail, industrial, medical, warehouses, all got taxed, and now it's completely gone. In real world terms, this means lower occupancy costs, better margins for business owners, and more flexibility on how deals are structured. But here's where timing matters, and this is where we're already seeing some confusion. The tax is only eliminated for lease periods starting after October 1st. Anything built before that date is still taxable. So if you're renewing, amending, or restructuring a lease, the way the dates are defined matters. And this is a good example of why guidance also matters. So if you're buying or selling a property that includes commercial space or negotiating terms tied to occupancy costs, this is exactly the type of detail we review with clients before it becomes an expensive oversight. In transactions we're seeing now, this shows up during negotiations. 2 deals look identical on paper and have very different outcomes depending on how dates and cost are structured. The Live Local Act has now been amended multiple times, and the 2025 version is the most aggressive yet. The goal is simple: build more housing, build it faster, and remove local roadblocks. Cities and counties must now apply the least restrictive height, density, and FAR standards. Parking requirements are reduced near transit, moratoriums can't be used to stall qualifying projects, and commercial or mixed-use land can now qualify for residential development. One of the biggest changes: religious institutions can now develop housing on land they already own if affordability requirements are met. That means no rezoning vote, no public hearing delay, and for buyers, this matters because future supply affects pricing power. For sellers, it affects competition and timing, especially in areas that previously resisted growth. This won't change the market overnight. What it does change is direction. Markets don't move all at once. They move in stages, and understanding which areas are gaining flexibility helps buyers and sellers make smarter long-term decisions. If you're buying or selling a condo in Florida, this change is critical. As of July 1st, 2025, buyers now get 7 days, up from 3, to review condo documents before being locked into a deal. That alone changes timelines dramatically. Associations must now provide clearer financial disclosures, standardized reserve studies, online access to records, and transparency around assessments. The intent is simple. What this really does stabilize is transactions. When information comes earlier and is clearer, there's less emotion later, fewer last-minute issues, and fewer deals that fall apart unexpectedly. Starting October 1st, 2025, flood risk disclosures is no longer optional. All sellers must disclose any known flood history, prior flood claims, and any FEMA assistance, and the fact that standard insurance does not cover flood damage. Landlord must also provide this disclosure for any long-term residential leases. If disclosures are not handled properly, tenants can terminate the lease and recover prepaid rent. This law exists to stop surprises, and we've seen firsthand how damaging flood surprises can be, especially when they surface too late. Handle this correctly, and this builds trust. If handled incorrectly, it creates huge liability. When flood risk is addressed up front, it changes the entire tone of the transaction. Buyers now feel informed instead of uneasy, and sellers avoid last-minute tension that can derail trust. Handled early, this becomes a clarity issue, not a deal issue. Florida has significantly strengthened property owner protections in 2025. Unauthorized occupants can now be removed faster, listing fraud is criminalized, and penalties for title fraud have increased. This matters because ownership should come with security, and Florida reinforces that. For buyers and sellers, this adds another layer of confidence in how property rights are enforced. And confidence matters more than people realize. When buyers feel secure in ownership and sellers feel protected throughout the process, decisions are easier and transactions move forward with less friction. These updates support that sense of stability. Taken together, these changes do not complicate real estate. They reshape now preparation, timing, and expectations, and how they come into play. And understanding that difference is what helps transactions feel intentional instead of reactive. Here's the big picture. These changes lower cost, increase transparency, protect ownership, and reduce bad surprises, but only if they're handled correctly. And the biggest mistake that we're seeing right now is buyers and sellers assuming nothing has changed. If you're buying or selling in Florida and want to make sure these changes are actually working in your favor, this is where having the right guidance truly matters. You don't have to navigate this alone. Book a consultation or give us a call. We'll walk you through what applies to you and what doesn't, and how to move forward with confidence. And if this video helped you, like it, subscribe, and share it with someone that could benefit from this information, especially anyone planning a move in Florida this year.